Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 2016 French drama Chocolat. Hey, there's no reason to panic, guys. There's no reason to be scared. This is not going to be a scary review, I promise you. Chocolat has a 100% fresh rating from the critics and Rotten Tomatoes and a 67% fresh rating from the audience. I'm currently reviewing every movie that has a 100% fresh rating from the critics in chronological order. Now, Chocolat stars Omar Sy as Chocolate and Jamie Theory as George Foutit. Now, James in real life is the grandson of Charlie Chaplin, which I think is pretty cool. So this movie is based on true events. If based on true events only means that the characters are the same name and they are the same profession as the people were in real life. Everything else is pretty much made up, it seems like, or at least that's what my research tells me. Now, the acting is spot on. It is fantastic in this movie. It is spectacular. Omar Sy does a great job as first he plays a role of like an angry African American native, and then he plays the role of a clown, and then at the end of the movie he plays the role of someone who believes that he's more than just a clown. He believes that he can do dramatic acting, he believes he can do Othello, and he does all these different parts very well. He has an incredible range of acting, does Omar Sy. And then James also does a fantastic job as kind of the he's the leader of the two when they're clowns, but he's also doesn't have that much screen time compared to Omar. He doesn't command the screen as much, but he does his role perfectly in what he's supposed to be doing. It's just a shame that this movie is not really based on the life of Chocolate, like 100%, even though that's what the movie's supposed to be about. They took a whole lot of liberties for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Like, why would you take someone's life that you think is interesting enough to make it a movie, but completely change everything that happened in the person's life, admitting that it really wasn't as interesting as you thought? I don't know. But anyway, this movie starts off with Chocolate. He is a kind of an angry native at a circus, and he goes around and he scares the audience members into thinking that he's going to like murder them with his nativeness. And then James is a clown who is an up-and-coming clown in the circus, and he wants to take on a new member into his group. So he wants to do a two-person act, and he thinks that Chocolate is the best person to do this with, because there does not exist a white person, black person clown duo. This was very much at a time when black people were looked down upon. They were looked as inferior. I mean, he played a native in the circus, running around scaring people. But James has a lot of ambition, and he thinks that Chocolate's going to do a perfect job. So he invites Chocolate to come with him and says that the pay is going to be a lot better, and that just the quality of life and what he's doing is going to be so much better than what he was doing before. So Chocolate agrees to come on. They become a huge success. The crowd thinks they're hilarious. They have great chemistry together. They are just like the next big thing. They end up going to a bigger circus that will pay them more money and will give them better prospects and opportunities. Now, Chocolate has a few problems in this movie. He is a womanizer, or he is someone who just loves to be with a different woman all the time. And he also has a huge gambling problem. And he gambles away all of his money. He puts up a lot of his property, his car as collateral, and he just like blows through his money like crazy. He buys a lot of fancy clothes, and he is someone who grew up poor, and now that he has money, he wants to like spend the money and do stuff with the money because he's never been in this position in his life before. But he does also develop a gambling habit, which becomes a bit of a problem. So they are like two peas in the pod. They are just destroying this whole circus thing. They're doing a fantastic job. And then one day Chocolate gets arrested because he doesn't have like papers to prove that he's an actual citizen, and he gets thrown in jail. Now, while he's in jail, he meets this other African American guy who's kind of says like, "What are you doing out there, Chocolate? You're you're making us look like fools. Like, you are playing the role of a clown, but you're playing the role of the buffoon part of the clown, and you're just making the stereotypes of African Americans even worse. You're not doing anything to help us. Like, if you really want to make an impact on the world and you really want to do something great, then you should do something like Othello, because that role was written for an African American, but no African Americans ever played the role, because it's the 1800s and everything's white basically. So he gets this idea into Chocolate's head that he should be more than a clown, that he should try to branch out from what he's doing and be a dramatic actor. So eventually he tells George that he no longer wants to be part of the team, and that he's going to go and do like real acting on Othello, and he's going to try to get into this Othello group. Now, of course, he's able to get into an acting group because he is a big, famous clown, and everyone wants to use the name Chocolate in their acting group because it will draw crowds. But as soon as he gets this job doing Othello, he says, I don't want to be known by that name anymore. I want to be known by my real name. I want, I don't want to ever revisit the name Chocolate again. That's in my past. That's when I was a nobody. That's when I let people walk over me. That's when I let people treat me poorly. But now I'm different. I'm a different actor now. So he tries to do Othello, and he pretty much fails miserably at it because this is not the kind of acting that he's used to. He basically bit off a little bit more than he could chew here. He hyped himself up so much that he is this great actor, that he is this great pillar of the African American community, and he's going to go in there and show them what's what. He's going to go in there and show them what he's made of, and he actually doesn't do that great of a job. He kind of fails at doing the Othello thing. So that at the end of the movie, we show that he's with his girlfriend. He finally has a long-term girlfriend. He was jumping from woman to woman throughout the entire movie, but he's with his girl, and he's basically on his deathbed. He's apparently dying of tuberculosis, and he's penniless, and he never got to that fame that he got to with George. And then by his side, George ends up coming to him and watching him pass away, and he breaks down crying. And George basically always felt like we had the world at our fingertips. We were doing what we love to do. We were making people laugh. It's not easy to go out there every day and make people laugh and to make it new and to make it exciting. And we were able to do that every day because of our chemistry, because of how well we worked together, because of our writing style. We were just able to go out there every day and wow the crowd. We had, like I said, we had the world at our fingertips, and we let it slip away because you wanted to not be the fool anymore. You wanted to be the dramatic actor. But with this type of thing, everyone has to be the fool at some point, but he got tired of it. So George basically had a little bit of animosity, but at the end he let it all go away because his friend was dying. And then his friend dies, and he bursts into tears, and it's a very dramatic moment. Now, also in this movie, they mention, or they allude to the fact that George is homosexual as well. So I'll just throw that in there. I don't think he felt that towards Chocolate, but that was part of his character, is that he was homosexual. And that's pretty much the entire movie. Now, when I went back to research, because I thought, wow, Chocolate had a really awesome, I didn't know that there was this person who existed like that. I want to go and research him. So when I researched him, I found out that he had a 19-year-old daughter that was never mentioned in this movie. The daughter died of tuberculosis, but he died of a heart attack. But in the movie, it says he died of tuberculosis for some reason. And he was never actually in jail, so I'm not sure where that part of the timeline in the movie comes from. And then in real life, George, there was never any evidence that George was homosexual. So there's just so many liberties that they take with this movie, and it really doesn't make any sense. It seems like their lives were exciting enough. They revolutionized the way that clowns in circuses are treated today. They revolutionized the team of being a clown. They really did a lot for this profession, and for some reason they feel like the director feels like he needs to just make everything up as he goes along. It just doesn't make any sense. You have really good material here, or it seems like you do. Why are you making up stories to? It's stupid. I got really upset because I thought I was watching a movie about a real person, about their lives, about how their lives really were, and it's almost all completely fabricated and made up, and none of it was real. Besides that, the acting is amazing in this movie, like in a lot of movies that I've watched recently. Very, very spot on acting, very good. Cinematography is absolutely amazing too. There's a lot of really nice shots in this movie. I mean, I want to say the writing was good, but it's all made up and it's supposed to be about someone's life. So is it really? I mean, for a movie, if you're just watching a movie and you don't care about researching about what his life really was like, and if any of this is true, then yes, it seems like the pacing is good, the writing's good, everything really comes together. I mean, besides that, there was only so much with the circus performances where I don't find them funny because it's a different. We have different like things that we consider funny now than were considered back then. I don't find any of it funny. It got a little tiresome towards the end when you keep watching these different shows that they're doing in the circus, and I didn't really think they needed to show me so many examples of what goes on in the circus. But it's a very tragic story, especially when the chocolate starts gambling his money away, and you really start to see his decline, and you really start to see him falling after he decides to split his relationship with George. He made a very bad mistake, and he kind of just lived with it. He didn't try to go back and fix it. He just lived with it. But all in all, I thought this was a good movie, and I give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you. I hope you join me next time.